Dating apps are everywhere. Swipe left, swipe right, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find the one. Despite their popularity, a lot of you are left feeling like something's just not working and end up spending hundreds a month on services like Tinder Gold to still get 0 matches. So, what's going wrong with dating apps, and why are so many people struggling? The paradox of choice. The main issue with dating apps is simply the fact that there are far more men than women on the apps. This leads to women having greater value as they are less abundant, and women getting significantly more matches than their male equivalent. This combined with the fact that men are more than willing to date down their looks level leads to women having severe paradox of choice. Essentially, they have a lot of options, and therefore they have to find ways to narrow down these options, and the easiest way to do this is to disqualify anyone who doesn't meet certain traits. These are predominantly looks traits. Women can set options to only men above 6 feet because they will still get matches either way. So for men who don't meet these requirements, you have already been disqualified by a lot of women. This goes for facial attractiveness, race, and more. This then leads to men having to date below their looks match, which then further exacerbates the issue. The swiping mechanism creates a dopamine system in which there is too high an opportunity cost for women to just date on their looks level, as there is always the allure of something better, meaning women are unlikely to settle with their looks match. For normal men, this leads to them being in a constant cycle of rejection and lowering standards only to still be rejected, and even if they do find a relation, it's unlikely to last very long because of this fear of missing out on a better option. On the contrary, dating apps are fantastic for attractive men, as they have the exact same abundance of choice as women do, and they can essentially monopolize the dating app market. This is why, for normal men, dating apps are probably worse than other methods of finding relationships such as cold approach, and specifically warm approach, because online they are simply competing with far more men, whereas in your local environment, assuming the women isn't on apps either, you simply have far less competition and thus greater likeliness to succeed. Now obviously I'm not saying to become a pickup artist, but potentially focus more on warm approach and building relationships in person over dating apps, as it's easier to compete with the small amount of guys at your local nightclub, compared to the entirety of the dating app pool, or even worse, TikTok and Instagram chads from all over the world. The next major problem is that many men will fall for the premium upsells that are supposed to make your account more successful. This is mainly because they believe in blue-pilled ideologies and think their account just needs more traffic or swipes. The reality is, dating apps favor a small minority of attractive men. No amount of Tinder subscriptions can give you the natural advantages of a Chad, and it's important to not fall for these manipulative marketing tactics, as the only thing that will change is the amount of money left in your bank account. Dating apps are great for a minority of men, but for the average normie, they don't work, so if you want to use it, first you must look smacks to at least high-tier normie to get any results. But in the meantime, look at other ways of meeting women. The more you socialize, whether online or in person, the more likely you are to meet someone. Men are less attractive than women. This is the final reason and the most important. Women simply are finding less and less men attractive. Now there will always be hypergamy, but for a lot of women they simply don't find most men attractive enough to even consider dating and would rather not date at all, whereas this same thing does not happen with men. Due to the degeneration caused by our terrible environments, people are suffering from many development issues, specifically in terms of bone development, as well as estrogenics and the highest rates of obesity in history. These all simply affect men negatively more than women. The poor diets lead to underdevelopment for all but specifically bone development, which impacts men more as it means they are less able to exhibit key dimorphism in areas such as the jawline, whereas for women, this isn't as impactful. Additionally, this can also mean men are not reaching their full potential heights, which is another important trait in male attractiveness. And finally, estrogenics, which are present everywhere, leading to men having less dimorphism and making them less attractive, and obesity, which is unattractive for all. But women can still be attractive at higher body fat percentages than men as they naturally carry more fat, whereas men should have less. This is why dating apps don't work for the average man. So fix your environment and looks max to give yourself the best chances of success on dating apps. And also try other means of meeting people to avoid the inflated competition of the online dating market.